that preview. Let's hop across to Mayuresh Joshi, who joins us. Hi, Mayuresh. Good afternoon. Good to see you in. Well, just one more day and then you're off to a long weekend. But you may be due for a lot of news flow as well. So let's see how that goes. Vedanta's number just came out. What do you think of it? And also, if you have a comment on Bandhan Bank, one of those stocks that has just fallen by the wayside, and suddenly they are reporting very good numbers, talking about ROAs of around 1.6%, talking about asset quality improving as well as collections. Your view on both these two names, Vedanta, that you've been positive on, and your view on Bandhan Bank.
Afternoon, Nigel. I think I've remained constructive on Vedanta for a long period of time. And therefore, I think numbers have been fabulous as far as Vedanta is concerned. And again, I think the entire commodity cycle is probably favoring them as we speak. So I think the core business expected to do well. I think the aluminium business expected to do well as well. And with prices both for base metals as well as silver is expected to remain relatively on the higher side in terms of demand-supply dynamics. I think the expected pass-through in terms of reported earnings delivery over the next few quarters should remain extremely stable as we speak. I think continue to remain constructive on Vedanta as we speak. For Bandhan Bank in particular, I think numbers were outstanding for the quarter one by. However, I think the only concern that I have probably thought is going forward, I think as a large part of their book probably is still in the microfinance space. And if monsoons are a tad bit deficient, and with all that is happening in the West Asian crisis, if there is some element of contraction that probably happens in terms of credit as well as capital crunch for key industries, along with some element of demand coming off the roof, I think there might be some elements of concerns that might start cropping in again as far as the microfinance stroke MSME book is concerned. They are diversifying. I heard the interview that the management had given to you, Nigel. But to a large extent, I think this probably remains one of the biggest risk factors for Bandhan Bank. So don't have a holding in Bandhan Bank as we speak. But within these NBFCs, I think Shriram Finance and PNB Housing, I think have given outstanding set of them.
Okay, got that. Let's focus on a couple of other names then, Mayuresh. You have Coal India. The past quarter's numbers, when people are getting bullish about the company and it delivers a degrowth of 1% with realizations down close to around 1%, that's a little bit baffling, right? Because in this sort of environment, they should have actually seen growth. There's a scarcity of other means of power. And global realizations as well have moved up. But the street seems to be saying, that's okay what's happened. What's happened is happened. The way ahead is positive. They are expecting volumes to recover after a span of close to 3 years. Because 25, the growth was 1%. And there was a degrowth in 26. So on that low base, they're expecting some growth. And they're also saying realizations will get a booster shot because the rupee has depreciated. So you can't import coal. And global prices itself have moved up. What would your take be at around 480 rupees?
I think it's a hold, Nigel, at our end. I think two broad reasons, as you pointed out. One, I think in terms of expected power demand expected to go exponentially higher over the next few quarters. The sense is that the kind of numbers that Coal India might probably project, both in terms of production and offtake, might be relatively better as we exit FY27, FY28. Obviously, I think execution remains a very key monitorable in terms of all these aspects put together. The second, in terms of the capex plans that they had, including evacuation lines, the railway sidings that they were expected to put through, I think that will make life a lot more easier in terms of ensuring that those volumes probably get maintained at the higher levels. And as far as pricing is concerned, you're absolutely right. If you probably look at the auction realizations on an annualized basis and looking at the import parity prices of all imported coal is probably being priced at this juncture, there is every scope that there might be some element of increases that come through in terms of e-auction realization. FSA had probably held up for Coal India as we speak on an annualized basis, as well as on a quarter-on-quarter basis. But as e-auction prices start moving higher in tandem with the global parity prices, I think there is hope with increased volume, better execution, and better pricing. Numbers should be relatively better, along with the 6% yield that the stock already has. So yeah, it's a whole hold.
Mayuresh, coming on the pharma names, it's been a slew of news pieces, be it Cohance Life Sciences, be it Sun Pharma's acquisition. Now Dr. Reddy is getting this approval. Which of these stocks do you like, or is there something out of these stocks which could be a trigger for the entire pharma pack?
Afternoon, Sonal. I think a large part of these news has now got played out into the price. So, for example, Dr. Reddy's approval for semaglutide, actually the move happened a few days back. And therefore, I think, as Ekta was mentioning, I think with a couple of more players probably added into the fray, and with an $8 to $100 million kind of a targeted revenue bracket that Dr. Reddy's is looking at, the street was looking for much more coming out of this launch. However, I think Dr. Reddy's has a slew of biosimilar products that it might launch over the next few quarters that might keep it in good state. Similarly for Sun Pharma, I think the price is probably now, the good news is probably in the price. Now it's all up to execution and integration on how the acquisition probably takes shape. And therefore, from the pharma space, Strides Pharma is something that we continue liking. Our own sense is that US revenues should continue at a steady state basis. There is expectations and hope that they've got a very solid pipeline as far as branded generics are concerned. And therefore, for Strides Pharma, the gross margins are expected to remain around that 60% kind of bracket. The expectations in terms of other regulated markets and access markets actually faring better over the next few quarters, thereby ensuring robust and healthy EBITDA margins, along with very strong cash flows. I think that probably won't stand for Strides. So out of the pharma pack, apart from CRDMO players, Strides is something from a rating ranking perspective that we continue liking at.
Okay, that's on the pharma space. Execution matters in some of these names. Most of it already priced in.